And you can do roll call from your desk now. So, clerk, I guess you do it. Okay, thank you. Is there any declaration of interest? Seeing none, I need a motion to adopt the minutes of December the 7th. Commissioner Roy, Commissioner, do you have a question? Oh, okay, Berna. Is there any questions regarding those minutes? All in favor? Thank you. We have a presentation. We'll start with General Manager Holmes. Sure.
Good afternoon. Chair Crawford, CEO Baxter Trahair, staff, guests. I really hope you had a real happy new year and pleased to be back in 2023. 2022 went by very fast. And as you know, as my mom always reminds me, that as we age, every year seems to go by faster and faster. So it's really important that we continue to advance the work we need to do to further enhance transit service in Durham. The metrics highlighted in the GM report tell a real strong story for DRT. Staff efforts to enhance our safety culture continue and are clearly demonstrated in our collision data. Through November, our preventable collision rate was 14.6% lower than 2021, and we're confident that we'll achieve our target of a 10% annual improvement year over year. Ridership on the scheduled network continues to recover, up 70% year to date compared to 2021. More recently, our weekly ridership has actually reached over 80% of pre-pandemic levels. On-demand ridership, which as you know includes data from the amalgamated specialized and on-demand services, was 30% lower than last year. However, when we look closer at the data, ridership for customers registered with specialized services has increased by 23% compared to last year. And as the amalgamated service continued to mature during the fall, ridership improved by 13% in November relative to September and October. The on-demand ridership declined, as we expected, with the switch to scheduled service from on-demand within several areas of the region. We also want to bring your attention to the fact that we continue to work with our partners at Metrolinx and Presto to advance fare payment options for customers. This spring, we'll launch Presto contactless fare payment by credit card, which includes physical credit cards as well as credit cards on smartphones and watches. Customers will be able to tap their credit card directly on the Presto device when boarding the bus, and additional contactless payment options such as payment with a debit card and Presto Mobile Wallet will be introduced at a later date. We will continue to monitor ridership fare payment to determine if contactless fare payment influences ridership levels in Durham. We still are stuck at that 9 to 11% of customers who continue to pay for cash and want to use cash, even though we've truly advanced the paperless fare options. We're very excited today to announce that we've entered into an agreement with Novabus for the delivery of our 6 12-meter battery electric buses that form part of our eBus pilot project. We expect these buses to be delivered by the end of 2024. Yes, I did say 2024. It is an 18 to 24 month time frame between the time we sign a purchase agreement and delivery of the vehicles. We're also finalizing our agreement with Enerforge, an affiliate of Oshawa PUC, for the supply and installation of the infrastructure and electrical equipment required to deliver on the eBus pilot project. I'll close by sharing that we're receiving increasing feedback from residents looking for an expansion of transit service across the region and into neighboring municipalities. And this is a really good thing. It's a good problem for us to have. More people want access to use transit. Fortunately, we have a solid base network today that we can build from as we expand access and enhance frequency and reliability over the coming years. I've shared before that residents in our comparative municipalities within the Greater Golden Horseshoe have access to almost twice the revenue service hours per capita than the Durham residents of Durham. And as our population continues to grow, the region will need to accelerate investments to make up ground on our comparative municipalities for the level of transit service available for our residents and our businesses. In advance of budget decisions in March, at our February Tech meeting, you'll receive a report for our long-term financial investment plan, recommending a 10-year strategy beginning in 2023. This plan significantly increases annual revenue service hours that are needed to achieve the transit modal shift targets of the Transportation Master Plan and truly enhance access for residents and businesses and improve frequency and reliability across the entire network. Thank you.
Is there any questions to do with this report? Commissioner Brennan, hang on now. Can you request it? I think you have to. Okay, it's on you. Okay.
Through you to the general manager. Actually, it's not really a question, but just picking up on your presentation, I had the opportunity of riding on one of the new routes in the city of Pickering, which is the Seton route, with Regional Councillor Pickles and City Councillor Shaheen Butt, and we're really pleased to see how well the staff were able to maneuver through the detour that could have caused extensive delays going north on Valley Farm, but in fact, we were able to make up for it even going north on Brock to get in through the Seton area. We noticed and we recognize that the pickup rate and drop-off rate in Seton was virtually non-existent, but we also, wanted to say thank you, but at the same time, hope that you won't jump to any conclusions while the ridership has an opportunity to build up, because I think it's going to take time before the residents up on Burkholt or up in the Seton community begin to feel comfortable with this new route and to trust the new route to be able to get them to where they're going, or the students that are going to be using it to link to the other buses that'll get them to our post-secondary locations. Perhaps can you give me an idea of how long will you accept between 0 and 5 passengers out of Seton?
I'm going to
Which I know that's not a high number.
Sure. Through the chair, and I will ask Christopher Norris to respond to that. So what's that typical time frame that we allow a route to mature to attract ridership? I will add that we'll continue to communicate to the residents and through Pickering, and hopefully we can get some echo messages through the city of Pickering to continue to promote and communicate what the new service is and access for that service. Christopher, are you able to just, again, what's the time frame usually of what it takes for a route to mature, and when would we potentially make any decisions about moving forward?
Through the chair, we'd probably be looking between 12 to 18 months. We report regularly on that annually. And considering it's a new area, and as the road network matures up there, we expect that the route will, formalize itself as we're able to take those collectors in Ontario as they are opened up.
Did you finish my apology? Oh no, it was also the another comment on that we also had an opportunity to see firsthand, and I forget what you call it, but it's the tracking device that was located on the, I guess I'll call it the pickup point, which would be on Pickering Parkway, and that's the track buses gave you ETA arrival, timelines, route stuff. That we did get to see in operation, and we did get an opportunity to talk to other passengers that were using other buses at that pickup point. And it was literally within in seconds each time. Where else do we have them? I mean, it's an amazing ability to be able to track and to know exactly when a bus is going to arrive, and also how long the trip would take. Do we have that in other locations other than that one point that we saw it? And if not, are we looking at increasing the availability of that in other, I guess, key locations along the transit system right across the region?
Okay, thank you. And through the chair, I believe we have 4 pilot units installed. I know one is at Oshawa Center Terminal, and the other 2 are
Harmony Terminal, and I think we have one up at the North Campus as well.
okay, great. And yeah, I mean, what you're seeing are those on-platform silver devices that show the real-time next bus arrival. They're fully accessible, and we had started the pilot about a year ago because we wanted to evaluate how they'd perform through our various weather conditions, and they've been performing very well. I will say that same information is also available through Transit, which is our app. So anyone with a cell phone can have that same information available in their hand. But we did hear, and that's why we put these devices at some of the platforms to evaluate their use, because some people who may not have a phone will still benefit from that information at those main terminals.
It was a pilot.
We're going to be evaluating that over the course of this year, and then we would look at if it was positive and we have other locations where we can install the infrastructure. Part of our challenge is that we don't ourselves own infrastructure, and we have to work with our partners to have these installed. So we will be exploring that in 2023 for future expansion of that program.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Granville? Anderson, sorry. We'll do the whole Commissioner Granville Anderson. How's that?
The changes in Bowmanville. I know I've sent you an email. It has been brought to our attention by a number of residents with changes in stuff. Is there an increase in service, or is it just changes in bus stops per se?
I'll ask Christopher Norris to provide the specifics of the expansion of the 502 in Bowmanville.
Is it expanded or is it shrunk?
So it has not shrunk. We've actually expanded service in Bowmanville effective January 2nd, and I'll ask Christopher to provide the details.
Through the chair, there's expanded service in Bowmanville itself. It's expanded to about 2,300 on weekdays, and we now offer weekend service on the 502 that was not available prior to January 2nd.
Okay, so I'll follow up. I know I refer this question to you. Why were those 3 stops removed in that particular subdivision?
Through the chair, I think you're referencing stops that were in the western part, north around Green Road and,
that's right.
and Highway 2.
Yeah.
I think the information that's coming from staff was we weren't able to keep the service on time by providing the service up there, so it was truncated, and the majority of the residents continue to be within the walking distance guideline to the transit service up there. It continues to go north. It just doesn't go as north into the subdivision as it used to.
So as you know, as you see from the correspondence, the folks are pretty upset about the length, the walking distance. They don't feel that's acceptable to walk that distance to a bus stop.
Okay, and thank you. We will review that email. I don't think we've had an opportunity to look at the details, but we will look at that afterwards and follow up with you.
And one final request, and this was a suggestion by Mayor Foster. Would you be prepared to come to council probably within the next month or so to explain all the changes and on demand, et cetera, et cetera?
We'd be pleased to.
Okay, so
yes. We'll coordinate that through the clerk and clerk.
Yeah, could you please do that? All right, good. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Schumer?
Me okay? No, I guess I'm on now. Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and through you to the General Manager. I know you gave some high-level stats in your presentation, and there are some more detailed stats in a report later on. With respect to the stats for the on-demand service, of course, you're often speaking in terms of trips, but you mentioned during your presentation about ridership improving as well, I believe. But could we start seeing actual statistics on the number of like ridership as far as on demand, as far as the number of residents actually being served by that in the various communities?
Just to clarify through the chair, are you looking at the number of individual people or the ridership on the routes? Because in the report that we do provide that monthly ridership that is broken down by municipality. I can't recall what page it is on, but we do have that as part of the GM report on a monthly basis.
Okay, I thought I was looking through it and didn't see the unique riders. I thought I was only seeing trips. But if that's in there, I'll take another look at that.
And that is important to us. We do report on trips. We don't generally report on unique riders because basically our users are anonymous to us, and you know, we do generally report on riders, not individual customers.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to get the feel for how many residents are utilizing the service, because you could theoretically have one one individual doing a lot of trips, but at the end of the day, you're just talking one individual. And I'm wondering as well, and I think I might have mentioned this at the last meeting to a degree. Once again, with respect to on-demand service, and there are times when we've got problems, such as there's no vehicle available, the service isn't available, and unless I missed something again in that report, are there stats being published as to the number of times we've had to refuse or fail to provide on-demand service for one reason or another?
Through the chair, the challenge with the current system we have is that it doesn't track the number of times people make a request, but they don't fulfill the request, so that basically falls off the side. So we currently don't have that data available to us. We are working with our new vendor coming online soon, just to see if that's an opportunity that we can leverage their data to see those actual trip requests versus delivered, like we do on other part of the system. But right now, we don't have that data.
Okay, but if we're working towards that, that would be great, because one thing we do notice, of course, up in the northern areas, definitely in Brock, is that when people put in those requests for the on-demand and for some reason it has to be refused, there's a vehicle not available or whatever it might be, it has a huge detrimental impact on whether or not that person will try again. So if we can get those stats in the future, that would be immensely helpful. I think my other question was answered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Henry?
Thank you, Chair. Just to follow up on Councillor Brenner's comment about a new route. So, do we use targeted social media based on postal codes to advise neighborhoods of when the new routes are in place? So on Facebook, you can utilize certain geographic designations so that we can send messages out differently. We can do it anywhere in the region for any reason, but I'm wondering if we do use that.
So through the chair, we haven't used that from a social media perspective in terms of target messaging for service changes. We have used it for specific mail outs so that people have that information in their hands when we're making a change within a certain specific area of the region. We've used that for hard mail outs, but we haven't used that at this point for social media messaging.
So
but it is something we can evaluate to see if it's an opportunity moving forward.
So I'm wondering if you could have a conversation with our corporate communications team to talk about targeted messaging, whether it be a new route or on-demand services, and it's very inexpensive, and it will get out to, because we can publish it in the paper, and that's one avenue, but not a lot of younger people read newspapers anymore.
Correct.
And I think it would be worth having that conversation.
Okay. And we'll explore that. We do use social media to broadcast all our messages, including general service changes. Our general approach has been to say service changes are coming. Please go to the website to get full details for your area. But we will explore that other option. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Jubb?
There we go. It's red. Thank you, Madam Chair. First off, Happy New Year. To Mr. Holmes, thanks very much for the presentation, and thanks for the conversations we've had over the last couple of months regarding some different ideas and options moving forward this term of council. Specifically for some outside of the municipal service that I'm looking forward to in the fall. Just a couple follow-up questions from the last meeting in December regarding Presto and purchasing at the municipal office in Brock. Have we made any leeway on that or started that yet?
Through the chair, I don't believe that we've advanced that, looking for an additional point of sale just with the time of the holiday. But it is something that we will continue to review and make sure that we get feedback to you and Commissioner Schumer as well. So we will continue to have those conversations.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. Just to follow on what Commissioner Schumer touched on with the on-demand and the upgrades and the expanded service on January 2nd of this month. What has there been, or is there anything planned for expanded or upgraded, a better service for on-demand as part of this? Or is it mainly just for different routes in the south?
I'm sorry, I couldn't make out what you said towards the end there. Could you repeat, Commissioner Joe?
So with the expanded service coming on January 2nd, is there any expanded or upgraded services for the on-demand specifically, or is this more or less for the routes in the south where there's actual bus routes?
We are, and we do continually monitor on-demand ridership. We are aware of the feedback that some individuals are not able to access rides, particularly during peak periods, which means that we need to look at our capacity during those times. And that's where we're looking at what level of service do we need to provide to meet those resident demands, whether that's scheduled service or on-demand in the urban or the rural areas. So that continues to be a focus, and we will continue to evaluate the on-demand capacity that's needed moving forward.
Okay, just finally, thanks for that, and through the chair. Priority levels. Now, if there's an on-demand call, let's say in South Pickering compared to Gamebridge, which is the northern part of the Durham region, is there a priority there, or is it all fair across the board? It's just first come, first serve.
It's all fair across the board, first come, first serve. With public transit, there is no prioritization of individuals or groups or disability or one versus another. It is first come, first serve.
Okay, that's all for now. Again, thanks for everything, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you.
Is there any further questions? If not, thank you very much. Did you want to go on to your next presentation?
I will. So I appreciate the opportunity to respond to information presented by the Ontario Tech Student Union at the previous Transit Executive meeting in December of 2022. Next slide, please. In addition to the tech delegation, there have been a couple recent media reports that included inaccurate or misrepresentative information that I'd like to address here. Since 2018, some routes have been rebranded, such as the high-frequency Simcoe route to a 901 from the former 401, merging or replacement of routes to improve resident access and frequency, and the realignment of routes, such as the 915 to benefit customers across the network and to recover ridership. As of the fall of 2022, DRT has increased the number of trips serving the North Oshawa campus by over 50% compared to the pre-pandemic network. Next slide, please. Since 2014, we've been committed to modernizing the DRT network, focusing on enhancing access, frequency, and reliability. The evolution of the network has required changes, and yes, there are impacts, but changes are made when there's an overall greater benefit for customers. During several discussions in 2022 with OTSU, one of the concerns was the realignment of the 915. Students boarding the 915 between Westney and Thixon transfer now to a route 905, a 920, or a 901. The previous 915 routing required passengers to travel from Taunton up to campus, back down to Taunton, and then continue their journey, even when there were no students on the bus. The routing now saves these customers 15 minutes of travel for every trip. Since the change, ridership across Simcoe on the 915 has increased 457%, or an additional 480 customers' trips every weekday. This routing change must also be taken into consideration within the context of the greater network, and not just the single 915 route. We're seeing exceptional ridership on the new 920, the enhanced access on the 905 through Whitby, and increased frequency on the 901. Next slide, please. The DRT planning team have done amazing work over the past 3 years improving transit service in Durham residents, including travel to post-secondary campuses. Compared to 2019, 62% more residents can access a post-secondary campus with a one-seat ride, no transfer. Specific to the North Oshawa campus, 50% more residents have access to a one-seat ride, and 90% more residents can access the campus with just a single transfer. We've also increased the number of trips servicing campuses. There are 50% more trips serving the North Oshawa campus compared to the pre-pandemic network. The number of trips serving the Trent campus has dropped by 7% with the cancellation of the 910. The 910 was a route that provided a link between the 3 post-secondary campuses, but ridership was low and it operated on the low-density Thornton corridor. However, today's transit network enables 98% more residents to access the Trent campus with a one-seat ride, and customers can quickly connect to multiple routes at the Oshawa Centre terminal for travel across the region. Simply put, more residents than ever have direct access to campuses, and they can access more trips than at any time in our short history. Next slide, please. The UPass has been in place since 2006. It's a universal pass program that relies on a mandatory fare charge to all students. The universal fare charge enables transit agencies to provide a pass at a much lower rate than students would otherwise pay. While the UPass is not a necessity, it is definitely a win-win-win program. DRT benefit from predictable revenue to be able to better forecast and plan services. Post-secondary institutions benefit from the reduction in car traffic on and around campuses, cost avoidance of building and maintaining expensive parking infrastructure, and the marketing advantage of the UPass for prospective students. Students benefit from significant financial savings, unlimited transit travel to school, work, and social occasions, and the ability to seek more affordable housing options by living further from campus. Collectively, we all benefit from the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, the costs and environmental impacts of constructing parking infrastructure and paving over our green spaces, and in the big picture, a more livable Durham community. Next slide, please. The current UPass rate is $147.25, or $36.81 per month. This rate is a 69% discount on the standard adult fare and nearly $10 less per month than our transit assistance pass for eligible residents on ODSP or Ontario Works. Next slide, please. Students attending one of our 3 post-secondary institutions in Durham save $320.74 per semester compared to the standard adult fare. And over the course of a 4-year program, a student will save roughly $2,500. Next slide, please. In 2022, we completed a survey to determine the competitiveness of our UPass program. Relative to our peers across the country, the 14 responding agencies reported that their monthly equivalent discount rates are 53 to 83% between their UPass and their standard adult fare. The DRT UPass discount is 69% relative to our adult pass. It's one of the higher discounts offered among our comparators. We also compared the monthly UPass rate per revenue vehicle hour. The DRT UPass rate per revenue vehicle hour is 33% lower than the average of our comparators. In other words, Durham students have access to more transit service relative to what they pay for the UPass. Next slide, please. We respect the intent of the recommendations provided by the OTSU delegation. We are completely aligned with the recommendations to enhance access and frequency of the transit network to discourage single occupancy vehicle trips. However, express routes from communities directly to North Oshawa campus would be very inefficient and or erode the network. Service would either duplicate portions of the grid network currently in place, requiring significant operating and capital investment, or routes or services across the network would need to be canceled to fund express services to campuses. Next slide, please. DRT's service equity guidelines further highlight equitable access to transit service through our service guidelines. The current network provides public transit access to residents regardless of where they live, work, or go to school. Within the urban areas of the region, DRT service is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The DRT service guidelines ensure equitable access to DRT services in consideration of ridership demand and budget. Next slide, please. We discussed in December that some schedule changes were required to increase travel time on key corridors that have been experiencing delays due to traffic. Revenue service hours were reallocated to routes experiencing reliability challenges, and we also expanded routes to improve resident access, such as the 112 that the Commissioner talked about earlier and the 502 in Bowmanville. While it's early and we're still evaluating, the changes implemented on January 2nd have achieved the objective of providing a more reliable and available transit service. The DRT follow-up to the OTSU delegation can be summarized as follows. DRT values the UPass partnerships, and we continue to enhance engagement with all Durham communities, including post-secondary students and their student associations. The DRT UPass provides exceptional value for post-secondary students attending campuses in Durham. Investments in the DRT transit network to improve access, frequency, and reliability will benefit all Durham residents, including post-secondary students. And finally, more Durham residents can access post-secondary campuses directly, and DRT delivers more trips serving post-secondary campus than we ever have before. Next slide, please. Thank you. That concludes our presentation.
Any questions on that report? Thank you, General Manager Holm. Commissioner Brennan.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I think I circulated to all members of the commission was a copy of correspondence, and I'm not referring to this as correspondence, but to this particular discussion that we're having, Madam Chair. But it was a letter that was sent out, stated yesterday, to the Transit Executive Committee of January the 11th. Rather than me reading the whole letter, because everybody has it, and I've provided it to the leadership as well, I do want to ask our general manager, and specifically the last paragraph that refers to some suggestions in terms of going forward. I'm going to paraphrase it rather than reading it. First off, clearly OTSU is providing very positive, constructive feedback regarding our transit system from the perspective of the students. One of the things that they have identified as a recommendation in their last paragraph is whether or not there's an opportunity for DRT to work with the OTSU as well as the Ontario Tech students to be able to provide or to do a on-campus survey of the students, and to work with the union on that as a tool to be able to garner direct feedback, target specifically to the audience that we're really talking about when we're talking about post-secondary. They reference the positive initiative that was taken previously with the Simcoe Street Rapid Transit Visioning Study as a great success, and looking at that model to be able to do a customer service survey from the student population. I think I've paraphrased it correctly.
Okay, thank you. And through the chair, in terms of responding to a direct student-only customer survey, I want to take that back and think about that a little bit more. I will share that we are advancing, and we did pause it during the pandemic, is an annual customer survey to evaluate the service that we are providing to all customers across the network. So we are restarting that again, and that will be available to all residents and customers. And we also have what we call our public information centers that we hold every spring, that we encourage all residents and customers to come out and share with us what their thoughts, opinions are. And actually, we are in communication with the post-secondary institutions to look at how can we better ensure that students have access to the PICs and the locations and the timing. So we are working with the post-secondary institutions on that as well. But I would need to think through the implications of targeting just one stakeholder in terms of a customer survey, and in regard to how the many other stakeholders we have across the region.
I appreciate that and respect that, and I'm sure that the executive from the student union understand that as well. But the one thing that, and I know that that we do a cross section of all customers, but I think if we look at traditionally, historically, and I guess the only thing I can draw a parallel to is voter apathy.
Mhm.
And the hardest challenge we have at times to reach different segments of the population to get them to come out and vote.
Mhm.
But what we have found sometimes, if you want to get students to vote, you go into the institutions, go into it to draw the vote out in terms of awareness. Or if you want to generate an understanding from the secondary school students, you go into the schools. And I was talking to a couple of the new school board trustees. You go into the schools because the communication strategies are very different
Mhm.
between reaching a targeted group. And it's not that it makes them special or different, but it's unique and there are greater challenges. When we reach out to seniors, we reach out through senior clubs in the city of Pickering, or I'm sure older adult centers right across the region to talk to the senior population, whether it's Ajax or whether it's Clarington and all the other municipalities and Whitby, and I can list all of them that have amazing older adult programs. The 55 plus group is a special group, but you get direct feedback.
Mhm.
So as you're evaluating this request, I'm hoping you'll look at it within that context. Same thing applies when we're talking to persons with disabilities. They're part of the overall population, but at the same time, we find ways of accessing them through other channels because they are unique. And sometimes you want to get that targeted feedback because their feedback, their eyes are going to be different. So I just leave that challenge with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Anderson.
About going into the schools, and as you know, I had broached that subject, but I guess there was an election on, so it wasn't an appropriate time to do that. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. And as you know, there are a couple of issues with a couple of schools in Curtis, especially. So
Thank you. And through the chair, I will say that we have great partnerships and relationships with our post-secondary institutions as well as with our secondary school boards. We're communicating all the time regarding service levels, demand, requirements. So we have those effective relationships, and we will build on those. And I appreciate the comments and suggestions that you shared. So we will continue to build on those great partnerships moving forward. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for your report. And do we have our delegate today? Is that Adam? Is Adam here? Nope. Okay. We have no correspondence, so we're going to go down to reports. I need a mover and a seconder for the general manager report. Oh, okay. Thank you. Any other further questions on that? If not, all in favor? Excellent. I need a mover and a seconder for report 2023 DRT 02 on the UPass. Okay, seconder. All in favor? If there's no other questions, all in favor? Great. And the last report is on the Durham Regional Transit advertising policy. I need a mover and a seconder on that. Thank you. And is there any questions on this? No? All in favor? Cool. Awesome. That takes us down to the next date of transit is February the 8th. I need a motion to adjourn, a mover and a seconder. Thank you. Are you getting this? Because I can't say it fast enough. All in favor? Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.